have you ever wished AI could like write your prompts for you?
Right.
Well, get this. Today we're diving into, a technique that does exactly that.
Oh, wow.
We're going to be looking at AI creates the prompt from, let me see, yeah, George Tome's Generative AI Professional Prompt Engineering Guide.
Okay.
And this is, well, it's a game changer.
It really changes, well, the way we think about prompting, that's for sure. Instead of you being, the prompt engineer all the time, it's like almost like having the AI be your co-pilot
Right.
in figuring out how to ask your question, like the best way to ask your question.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Imagine you're trying to develop a market entry strategy, but
Exactly.
you're, not really sure where to start. With this technique, you could basically just tell the AI, help me figure out the best way to enter a new market.
Right.
And then instead of just giving you, some generic advice, it can actually use its understanding of language, right, and like context to actually craft a really precise and targeted prompt that unlocks a much more sophisticated response.
Oh, wow.
So it's like having an AI assistant who doesn't just like get your request, but also knows how to like translate that into the language that gets the best results from whatever AGI you're using.
The book actually gives this really fascinating example about understanding how your brand is perceived in a specific market.
Okay.
And in this case, it's the Asian market.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just like a general question,
All right.
The user wants to know about things like trustworthiness and product quality, which are, super important
Yeah, those are really
for any brand, especially, I imagine, going into, a new market trying to make it.
Yeah. So how do they use like AI creates the prompt then in that situation?
So this is where AI creates the prompt is like really amazing.
Okay.
Because instead of the user having to figure out how to like, incorporate all of those different nuances into a single prompt,
Right. Right.
they can just feed the AI their more general question.
And then this is where things get really, really interesting.
Yeah.
The AI takes that question about, brand perception and trustworthiness and product quality and turns it into this like laser focused prompt.
Yeah.
It like zeroes in on analyzing brand perception data, specifically in the Asian market, with, special attention to those key metrics.
It's incredible how it can take like a relatively simple request and turn it into something way, way more powerful.
Yeah.
And it's like having the AI like bridge that gap
Totally.
between what you initially, thought of and then the specific language that's really going to get you the most, relevant and actionable insights from the AI.
So interesting.
Yeah.
So we've talked about market research, but imagine using this for something like competitor analysis.
Yeah.
Like you could ask the AI to help me understand the strengths and weaknesses of like my top 3 competitors.
Mm-hmm.
And it could generate a prompt that, analyzes their like marketing campaigns,
Right.
product offerings, customer reviews, all through the lens of, your initial request.
That's amazing. Absolutely. Yeah, the applications are, well, they're all over the place. You could really use this technique for like almost anything where you're trying to, get some kind of deeper insight from the AI.
It just feels almost like magic,
Right.
but obviously it's not actually magic.
Mhm.
It's more about, understanding how to actually use this AI creates the prompt template in a way that like that really works.
Yeah.
So for our listeners, like what makes this template so special? What are the keys to making it, really work well?
I think you kind of hit it on the head when you said understanding, right?
Yeah.
The power of this template is that it's actually really simple and it's structured. Like it's really about guiding the AI towards generating, a genuinely useful prompt. It's not about like, making it overly complicated or anything like that.
So it's less about like throwing a question at the wall and just like hoping that it sticks, right? It's more about like being really like intentional and strategic with how we actually phrase things.
Exactly. Yeah, it's about giving the AI like all the context that it needs to actually like fully grasp, your request. And don't be afraid to get specific, right? Like tell it exactly what you're hoping to do, what kind of information you need, even like what format you want the output in. Be really specific.
It's like it makes me think about like giving someone directions,
Yeah.
the more detail you give them,
Exactly.
the less likely they are to get lost, on the way there.
100%. Yeah. And that's where like that step-by-step guidance can be really, really useful,
Okay.
especially when you're dealing with, these more complex requests, the book suggests using phrases like, let's think about this step by step,
Mm-hmm.
which encourages the AI to break it down,
Right.
break the task down into these smaller, more manageable kind of chunks.
So instead of being like intimidated by like a really complex question, you're basically saying like, okay, AI, let's slow down. Let's think this through together.
Exactly.
Love that.
Yeah, I mean, and it plays to the strengths of AI, right? Which is, they're great at patterns and they understand logical sequences,
Yeah.
and prompting it to think step by step often leads to these surprisingly insightful prompts.
It's really interesting, right? Because it's like it's highlighting how this technique is so much more than just, typing like a quick question into ChatGPT or whatever.
Right.
It's like you're forming a collaborative relationship
Yeah, for sure.
with the AI. You're like working with it to uncover like the best approach to your problem.
Yeah, it's about, like you said, it's a partnership, right?
Yeah.
And like with any successful partnership, it's all about how you communicate.
That's true. Now, you mentioned earlier that, sometimes the AI generated prompts, they might not be perfect, right?
Right.
Even when we use this template.
Yeah, definitely.
So what happens then? Do we just like give up?
Oh, no, not at all.
Okay, good.
One of the things that George really emphasizes in the book is this idea of what he calls iterative refinement.
Okay.
And that just means, don't be afraid to, make some tweaks.
Okay.
Right? Don't be afraid to refine those AI-generated prompts, as needed. You're still the one calling the shots, right?
So it's like working with a first draft of, like a writing project or something. Like sometimes you have to play around with the wording a little bit.
Yeah.
Or, rephrase something or add in a detail that that was missing to really make it perfect.
Exactly. And what's really cool is the more you work with the AI in this way, the more you start to you start to understand its thought process a little bit better.
Right.
And how to guide it toward generating even better prompts, down the line.
Yeah.
It's a continuous learning process.
Absolutely. Yeah.
For you and the AI.
So we're training the AI over time.
Yeah.
To be more, well,
to get better.
Yeah, to get more intuitive and give us what we want.
Exactly. Yeah, as we refine the AI generated prompts, we're actually we're teaching it to be better at crafting those prompts in the future. And it's like, we're developing this shared language.
Yeah.
A deeper understanding that allows us to get even more insightful responses from the AI.
This has been so interesting to really dig into this.
Yeah.
Who knew that getting the most out of AI could be as simple as letting the AI figure out the prompt,
Right.
It's wild.
It's a real shift in perspective. And it just shows you the potential of AI, I think, to not just be this tool, but an actual partner.
Totally.
In whatever you're working on.
100%. Well, as we kind of start to wrap up our deep dive here on AI creates the prompt,
Yeah.
really gets you thinking what questions could we be asking
Right.
if we knew the right way to ask them?
Totally.
And this technique really feels like it gives us the tool
It does.
to unlock that,
100%. Yeah, it's it bridges that gap between, just having a question and knowing how to form that into something that's going to get you a really, really valuable response.
It's like that old saying.
What's that?
The quality of your answers depends on the quality of your questions, or something like that.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And that's definitely true with, with AI, but especially with this new way of thinking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a perfect place to kind of leave it for our listeners.
Think about those questions.
Think about the questions
you want to ask. And maybe the AI can help you figure out how to ask them.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, this has been a great conversation. Really appreciate your insights on this.
Oh, thanks for having me. It was fun.